It's the Forever Knight-Athon. We're recapping and reviewing every single episode of Season 1 of the 1990s Canadian police procedural about a vampire detective taking a bite out of crime. So today, what I'd like to do is describe to you the events of Episode 14, Dying for Fame. That is the task I've set for myself. And halfway through, you might start to think, Mildred is having a seizure, and the wrong words are coming out of their mouth. And no, thank you for your concern. These are the events of Episode 14 of Forever Knight as I understand them. We open on a music video for the song Fan Kill by artist Rebecca about how she wants to kill all of her fans because she hates her fans so much. It's very controversial because her fans think that's wrong, we should get to be alive. And they don't care for this song, but it doesn't seem to affect her concert sales or have any real impact on her whatsoever. One such fan is having sex with a woman who looks conspicuously like Rebecca, who stabs him with a big fuck-off hunting knife. Nick and Natalie are meanwhile at a diner, and Nick has decided to try his luck with another hamburger. Don't know why whenever he decides to eat human food, it's always hamburgers. There are other foods. I do feel like a hamburger is a pretty heavy choice to start with. Pretty advanced human food, in my opinion. He dips a French fry in what he thinks is ketchup, but is alarmed to see that it's not ketchup, it's blood, which if anything should be more appetizing for him. Also, the waitress is Jeanette. Also, the short order cook is Lacroix. Oh, okay, it's a dream. It's just a very specific dream. That morning, Toronto's all in a tizzy. Stonetree has to call in the night shift early because all of the attention and death threats Rebecca's getting because of her controversial song. Nick has to get up early too and go outside looking like Darkman. Meanwhile, Rebecca's manager is freaking out. Where is she? She's supposed to go on stage in a few hours and nobody's heard from her. Where could she be? If she doesn't get here soon, I guess what we'll have to do is send up her backup dancer, Wendy, who happens to look conspicuously like her. Just a real doppelganger situation. Wendy looks just like her and could easily be confused for her. Just remember that. And so, but it's fine because it turns out Rebecca's just drunk. She wakes up next to the dead body, but she's too drunk to notice that he's dead. She heads into the venue completely oblivious that she just left a murder scene. Nick and Skanky investigate, and they're like, oh, the famous singer, this is her room, let's go talk to her. And she's real evasive. Nick is hypnotized by the contents of her song, and it sends him into a sort of trance. I think he's very fixated on it. Back at the precinct, Nick claims to have been at Woodstock.
You were there? Yeah, right, in macrame diapers. And Janis Joplin sang you a lullaby. You're full of it, Knight.
Actually, I was with the Grateful Dead.
And then what happens then is we're treated to what first appears to be a flashback of him at Woodstock, but weirdly, Lacroix is his manager, and then he goes on stage to sing Fan Kill by Rebecca, but the audience turns on him when he reveals that he is a vampire. And I don't know what any of that means. Like I get the very subtle analogy. What I don't get is is this like a fantasy he's having? Is this a dream? Is he just having a hallucination in the middle of the day? Rebecca initially claims to not remember what happened the previous night, but then confesses to the guy's murder after that. But she's lying because actually she didn't kill the guy. She just hates being famous. And she's been trying to sabotage her career, which is why she wrote that very controversial song. And she's gotten so desperate that now she hopes to just go to jail and be done with this whole rock star life. So she wrote a song about wanting to kill her fans, and then a fan of hers is found dead in her hotel room, and she confesses to killing him. So it's, it seems like a pretty cut and dry case, but not to Super Detective Nick Knight. He gets the case reopened, and the fingerprints on the knife don't match hers. He then hallucinates or dreams or has a fantasy where he's in prison, and Lacroix asks if he wants to be let out.
You're going to be released. But only if you want to be released, I'm sure. Oh, I'm so sorry, Nicholas. It was all a joke. There is no release.
It's really weird, right? Because normally, whenever Nick asks for release, Yvette Lacroix gives it to him. Rebecca is forced to go back on stage while this Billy Zane-looking motherfucker loads a gun ominously. Oh no, he shoots her to bits. Nick brings the body to Natalie and tells her to keep this a secret. What? Keep what a secret? What's going on? Because actually, the guy shot Wendy, the backup singer, who, get this, had switched places with Rebecca, and also Wendy did the murder too. She wanted to frame Rebecca because she wanted to switch places with Rebecca. So her plan was to start by framing Rebecca for murder, and then I guess she would switch places, but she'd be switching places with someone who was framed for murder. And the manager decides that he's just going to let the public believe that Rebecca is dead because she'll sell more records that way, and they own her image. So it's a win-win. She gets to leave her fame behind, and they get a lot of money. And I guess nobody would recognize her. This incredibly famous rock star selling out stadiums will just slip back into a life of anonymity. Seems unrealistic to me. I get recognized when I go out in public sometimes. I feel like I'm less notable than Rebecca. Nick's psyched, though. Nick is really happy about it. Hey, Forever Knight, what was this? What were you trying to do here? I guess my question is, why did you make this episode like this? Because you don't normally make these episodes be like this, but this one was. I'm 80% sure I did not hallucinate this episode, but it's possible. It is adorable what passed for shocking content in music in 1992, because nowadays, like, if a sexy lady was saying she was going to kill her fans, people would be so psyched. People would be lined up around the block to be like, ooh, murder me, mommy. So that's episode 14 of Forever Knight. That's, I think, pretty much what happens in it. There you go. Hope that, if you were wondering what happened, I hope that clears it up.
And I'd like to thank the people who will forever be my knights over at patreon.com/scaredycats. In particular, I'd like to thank Verbena, Cooper Holmes, Joe McClory, Liz Widow, Maston Ginger, James Garford, C.H. Phillips, Gideon, Charlotte Hollingsworth, Devin Kaler, Spooky Heather Sylvia, and definitely Todd.
And I, Bobby Duke, the star of the channel, would like to thank the following people who's also the stars of the channel on account of their support on patreon.com/scaredycats. We got Jay Torney, Schadenfraulein, Lanston Teen, Rachel Rat, Kato Moore, Carpad, Josh Manez, Hyla Tracy, Louisa Prito, and Jesse. Well, can you believe the shenanigans Nick Knight and his pals got up to in this one? Hey, we're gonna keep going all January, baby. You wanna get these videos a day early? Go on over to Patreon. Oh, wait. You can just wait. I mean, how bad do you need it,